Welcome to the Neshoba Valley Chamber podcast, Business Buzz. I am here with Maedon Coburn of Appleseed Personnel Services. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I love trying new things and doing something different. And glad that you're here on this adventure with me.
Thank you. I love being your guinea pig. Or one of.
So, Appleseed Personnel Services. So, how long have they been around?
It will be 41 years this fall. So we celebrated 40 years last year. That was a big deal. So yeah, 41 years. My mom started it in 1984.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was a visionary.
Either that or she was just crazy at the time. I'm not sure. Because she came from a lifelong career of education and decided to do something different. And this was it. And it certainly served her purpose of helping people and guiding people. And so, yeah, it was in the end a really good decision.
Nice. And so how did you get involved then? Your mom started the business. How did you get involved in Appleseed?
I joined her in 1991 when I needed to go back to work full time. I had applied with her once before.
She made you apply?
Yeah, well, interview. Yeah, she did. She did. Forever the school teacher. And she actually didn't hire me because apparently I thought I knew more than I did. And she told me to go get another job for a while and come talk to her in a year or whatever. And I did. I took what she said and I went and did some other work, and then there was an opening, and I said, okay, I think I'm ready. And she thought I was ready, and so I joined her and have been there ever since. I purchased the business from her when she decided to retire in 1996, I believe. So it ended up being a really good thing for both of us.
How was it working with your mom?
It was good. I learned a lot. I had probably more of a, what I learned from my mom was the commitment to community. She was really committed to the community, and that's how she built the business. And she taught me how to be involved and stay involved. And I was always caring and giving back and that kind of thing, but to really develop a community connection. So that part of working with my mom was great. Other parts, it's that forever mother-daughter thing. But it was a good journey.
Nice. So what types of staffing does Appleseed do?
We do just about everything. Our main wheelhouse is clerical and light industrial, manufacturing and admin kind of thing. But we do sales, we do call centers, we do banking, we do landscaping, truck driving. I mean, you name it. We will do it.
So we've actually used Appleseed Personnel Services here at the Chamber for light office work.
Yeah.
And it's a great resource to have in the community. So thank you.
Yes, it definitely fills a void when you just need that extra filing done. Somebody's out on vacation, we do short-term, long-term, all of that. So
what areas do you cover? What region?
We go like Orange to Acton, with most of our stuff being Air to Gardner.
Okay.
That's kind of our geographical map. But we have, like I said, clients in Orange and we have clients in Acton.
So if a business, now I know a little bit about this because we've used your services, but if a business has a need, what's the first thing that they should do?
Pick up the phone and call, speak to a staff member, tell us what your needs are. We'll talk to you about how we can fill that and the flexibility that comes with that, and we go from there. And that's for, again, short-term or temp to hire. That's the majority of our business is temp to hire.
What would be the benefit to a company to, rather than them hiring somebody themselves, what would be the benefit to them going with Appleseed Personnel?
Okay, so if we're talking about short-term assignments, the fact that the employee's not going on their payroll, right? So there's no paperwork involved if you just need someone for a 3-month assignment. You don't have to set them up in your payroll. You don't have to file year-end tax stuff for them. So that's definitely a bonus. The temp to hire positive side is being able to have someone in your environment doing the work without putting them on your payroll until you know that's what you want to do. No job is ever a guarantee. Some
Mm-hmm.
people say to me, well, I want a permanent job. Well, those days are gone. You're never getting a gold watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the temp to hire is as positive a move as just going in and directly hiring someone. It just is a matter of keeping things on my books while they're trained and decide if that's a good fit. Sometimes it's not a good fit for the employer, sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's not a good fit for the employee. It goes both ways
Yeah.
there. So it's a nice transition while you're training and getting to know that person.
Do you have folks that that you've worked with for a long time?
Yes. Yes, we have some of our field employees or our temporary employees have been around for years. They they get full time jobs. They're in a temp to hire position full time. They get laid off or they decide on a career move. They're right back to us.
Nice.
And I love that. And we also hear from people that started out at the front desk somewhere and are now a senior salesperson 15 years later. And they'll always reach out and I just, write us notes. And we have a very good relationship with our staff.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how many people do you work with?
On a yearly basis, hundreds and hundreds. Right now, out in the field, there's maybe 85 people. It'll pick up in the summer as seasonal work picks up. So it's often right around 100 that are out working, but we have relationships with hundreds and hundreds of people that come through, go on assignment, come off assignment, that
Nice.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So you talked about your mother being involved in the community, you being involved in the community, and I know that you're involved with the Neshoba Valley Chamber. You serve on our board of directors, which thank you, I appreciate. What are other things that you've been involved in that are important to helping get to know the community and meet people out in the region?
So I have sat on the board at the North Central Chamber as well years ago. Um, I chaired the women's conference for years. I go out and speak to schools. Schools call me and say, come help our seniors figure out how to get a job. I was out at RFK twice in the past 2 months helping their students learn how to write resumes and how to interview and that kind of thing. I sit on the board for Montechusett Recovery Center in Leominster. I'm the chair of the board for Crystal House, which is a clubhouse in Gardner, part of Open Sky. I was on Battered Women's Resources. I kind of go where I'm asked to be, and if it's something that connects with my heart and my wish for the community, I'm certainly open to do it.
Nice. Tell me a little bit more about going into a school and working with the students. What's that experience like?
I love that. That's probably my favorite. That's probably my
I
absolute
think that would
favorite.
be one of my favorites.
And I did a lot of it before COVID, like a lot. Spring would come and I would be out like once a week. And it would be teaching kids how to interact with people, which back then was easier than it is now to really get people to understand this kind of conversation with someone and how you prepare for an interview and how you present yourself. I always try to, because people like to think that first impressions don't matter, but they do.
They do.
And especially to young people, I say to them, you could be all the wonderful things in the world, but that person gets like 3 seconds to decide something. So
Mm-hmm.
let's make sure we've shown up in an appropriate way that we want to represent ourselves. I try to teach them about being their own salesperson. So yeah, I love to work with the kids. They're awesome.
And talking about COVID, things have definitely changed for students since then. What's the biggest change that you've seen in the students?
Probably the lack of energy around finding a job.
Okay.
It's not as immediate
Mm-hmm.
as it used to be. And I think there's lots of things that have brought on that change. But 20 years ago, high school kids needed jobs. Like they were just chomping at the bit to be 18 so they could come back and see me.
Mm-hmm.
It is different. The urgency around employment seems a little different.
You do bring me back to my high school days, and I remember taking the school bus to the local grocery store on 2 days a week to go to
Yeah,
my after school job.
yeah.
And it was so important for me to have that start of independence and growing up, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and having some money
Right, right.
and then getting a car.
Yeah. No, it teaches you so much. I look back at my high school jobs and I think, wow, I things that you forget you even know how to do.
Hmm.
And you're like, oh no, I've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
important.
students have changed over the years, but job seekers have changed over the years.
They have.
How
They
has that
have.
had an impact on how you guys do the work that you do?
We're coming out of it now, but for a long time, people were calling and saying, I want remote work. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of going away. Some people, yes, have remote jobs. I understand that. We don't really staff for that.
Yeah.
In the beginning, in the beginning of COVID, several of our clients were set up in their homes to do the jobs they were doing, but that's not it anymore. I think expectations are different and they're more different than the actual results of what's out there, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So I think people are maybe a little pickier, and I don't know that that's a bad thing at all, but sometimes I feel like the realistic expectations aren't aligning with skill set and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Talking about skill set, one of the things that I know that you've done and you mentioned is resume critiquing and writing. It's important for somebody that maybe feels like they've been in a career for a while and they don't have skills that are transferable, but they really do.
They do. They
It's
do.
it's amazing. So I remember, when my mother was alive, and she had a job that she did forever. That in my head it was forever. And when she was ready to make a change, I remember her saying to me that she didn't have any skills, and I was like, "You've managed people. You've like think of all these, And I went through, and I was like,
Right.
"You have skills, like more skills than most have."
Mm-hmm.
So that must be fun when you get to work with people and pull
Pull
out.
that out. Yeah. I had to pull it out for myself. When I was asked to sit on a board a couple years ago, and I said, okay, let me think about it. And they said, could you send over your resume? And I thought, oh gosh, my resume was so old. I've been here at Appleseed forever. And I said, yeah, I'll put one together. And then I sat down to do it, and I was like, well, I just don't know how to do anything. I don't do anything because sometimes what you're doing is just so ingrained.
Mhm.
And I had to do it for myself to pull out the hard skills, the soft skills,
Yeah,
look back at experiences. So, yes, it is fun to help people. When I start a resume for someone, I'll say to them, go home, send me an email, and just list everything you've done. Well, you don't mean like 10 years ago. No, I do. I do. I
hmm,
mean everything you've done. And then we'll build it from there.
nice,
Because some of what you did 10 or 20 years ago transfers over to maybe what's needed now. So that is a fun part of it.
nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So, how do people get in touch with Appleseed? Like, if that either because you work with job seekers, but you work with employers that are
Right.
looking for
Right.
those job seekers. So,
So either one, employers or people looking for jobs, can go to appleseedpersonnel.com, send us a message through there. They can call the office. They can stop into the office. I mean, there's any way you want to get hold of us. We answer texts, all the time because that will come through to us if you go on the website and send a
Okay.
message. So, and some of our employers use that too, and I need somebody quick. So the website's probably the best start.
Excellent. And the website is,
Appleseedpersonnel.com.
and you're located at
305 Whitney Street in Leominster. We're on the second floor of that building. We're always happy to meet with job seekers. We're always happy to make quality placements in the community, and we're always thrilled to talk to employers looking for additional help, be it short term or long term.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for all the work that you
Thank
guys do,
you.
helping folks find their next great career.
It's my
So,
pleasure. Thank you.